all my fault for the last call. So thank you everyone for rescheduling with us. And as I mentioned, we are recording this. There's about 10 folks who RSVP'd, but they said they couldn't actually be here tonight. There's a lot of interest in this trip. Many of you are already signed up. Raise your hand if you're already signed up. And then the rest are interested in signing up. So we're very excited to have you. And I am going to turn this over to Brent and Susan. They're going to tell us all about Lindblad and about the trip. So
All right, we ready?
we're ready. Let's go.
Awesome.
Enough
Awesome.
of me.
I know. Well, this is great. Well, it's so nice to meet everybody. Thank you so very much for being here this afternoon. My name is Brent Sentlever, and I live in Orlando, Florida. So I have to theme this with the icebergs behind me, just to remind me that there's other places on the planet where it's actually cold and not like sweaty hot Orlando. So thank you again for joining us. I am joined. I'll share my screen. I'm joined here with my colleague, Susan. And today we will be sharing a whole lot about Antarctica. I brought Susan because I joined Lindblad fairly recently. And while I have done many things in my life, I have not been to Antarctica. And I wanted to bring Susan here to be able to introduce herself, be able to talk a little bit about Antarctica, answer any questions, because I know that when you're going to the end of the earth, you might be thinking all sorts of things about expectations of what this is going to look like, what I should pack, all sorts of things. And I thought Susan would be a great person, as opposed to me constantly saying, you know what, I need to follow up with Dave on that. I need to follow up with Dave on that. So I thought Susan would be wonderful to be able to have. She is our expeditions development manager. And Susan, would you like to share a minute or two just about you and your background and kind of your role here at National Geographic Lindblad?
Sure. Hello, everybody. I've been involved with expedition travel now for years. And I got my start. I worked at Lindblad years ago, and then I kind of launched out into learning the world, because when I first started, I ran the programs for the seabird and sea lion for Baja and Alaska, and then went out and learned the world. And then I came back, and during my other experience, as soon as I came back, I've worked on Antarctica. I've worked on it for years. It is a total fascination for me, and it's an amazing product, and it's an amazing place in the world. And as we'll get into more, this is truly an expedition type trip. So that to me is exciting. I love the expeditionary side of cruising. So, and I hope to be able to answer any questions that you have too as we go along.
Well, that's wonderful. Well, let's do this. Let's get everybody kind of in the mood, because we might be from all around the world. I know that with Dave being in Barcelona and me being in Orlando, Susan being in Seattle, let's just get all on the same page here. I'll start off with this video that we have.
I've been to Antarctica many times in each of the summer months, and I can say that no matter when you visit, it is simply incredible. I'm Rich Kirshner. I'm a naturalist and certified photo instructor with Lindblad Expeditions and National Geographic. I'm here in Antarctica aboard the National Geographic Endurance. Late October and early November marked the beginning of Antarctica's austral summer. On the Antarctic Peninsula, the northernmost part of the continent, daily temperatures can range from 22 to 32 degrees Fahrenheit, and we begin to experience more than 20 hours of daylight. Sea ice is still intact. We see massive ice floes and fresh snow blankets everything. During the early season, ice and weather conditions dictate where we go and what we can do. Our veteran captains can park the ship in the fast ice, allowing guests to disembark on untouched snow to hike, snowshoe, or even cross-country ski in total tranquility. December is summer's official arrival, when the days stretch even longer and temperatures climb above freezing. Resident marine mammals such as humpback whales and fin whales are starting to return from warmer waters where they were birthing their calves, and penguin rookeries are becoming active. There is also a lot going on beneath the surface of the water. Because the cold water is so nutrient-rich, Antarctica has a vibrant undersea world. Our undersea specialists can document an array of crustaceans, anemones, nudibranchs, and other creatures with top-of-the-line underwater cameras so guests can explore this frigid environment from the comfort of the ship. In January, temperatures can reach anywhere from 33 to 36 degrees Fahrenheit or higher, and there are nearly 24 hours of daylight. January is an exciting time as newly hatched penguin chicks begin to explore. Adventurous chicks also mean active predators, namely the leopard seals and predatory birds. Leopard, crab-eater, and Weddell seals have birthed their pups by now, and we might see them snoozing on ice floes or actively feeding. By month's end, Antarctica's penguin chicks start to fledge, but not without some adolescent awkwardness. In February, as the ice recedes, we have opportunities to explore farther along the peninsula in places like the Weddell Sea and perhaps areas south of the Lemaire Channel. During this time in the season, we might even see an occasional emperor penguin. We also may have a chance to visit several historic huts along the peninsula. February is also prime time for whales in the Southern Ocean. These highly intelligent cetaceans are sometimes curious and may approach our ship and zodiacs. Early March is the official end of the season. In March, daylight goes from nearly 24 hours to just 8 by the end of the month. This gives us one last opportunity to observe spectacular sunsets and sunrises as we say goodbye to Antarctica for the season.
I mean, who's ready to go?
Me.
I mean, I figured we could have probably stopped the video at the baby penguins and just said, okay, this is it. Let's go. Let's sign up.
I know. And I'm excited that our trip is February. It seems like
Yes.
we're going to be at the prime, perfect time to be there. And you know something, Erica and Chris, my colleagues who are expedition in Antarctica, wild specialist, crazy people, they were talking about Lindblad's one of the biggest benefits is that it's actually the onboard scientists and naturalists that lead everything. They say where the ship goes, not the captain, not the cruise line, not the schedule. They say there's pods of whales, we're going there. They have unlimited, well, not unlimited, but they can use all the gas they want to take us to see all the best wildlife and the best sites. So I am really excited about it. And watching that video really gets, okay, Terry's not very excited about the cold, but we're both very excited about the opportunities that Lindblad offers us.
And Susan, do you want to talk more about that part about what I love about the itinerary is you look at it and it's not, okay, today's Thursday, we're in Nassau. It is much more of a fluid feel. Can you kind of talk a little bit about that?
Sure. And I can also talk about the scientists. I was going to, as I watched the video, it was like something I want to make sure that you know that we do have a very active science program with Lindblad where we have visiting scientists that will be on different trips. I don't know exactly who might be on the trip that you'll be on, but we partner with scientists to get them to locations for their studies. And oftentimes, too, there's opportunities for some citizen science as well that you can participate in. And at the very least, you get to learn about some pretty amazing studies that are going on in this region. But as far as the itinerary goes, it's managed and yet it's not. We work with the company, oh, not the company, but the governing body of Antarctica is IATO. And where everybody is very committed to the environment, to the experience, and to ensuring that each of the ships are able to have a very special time when they're down there. So we do have a schedule on as far as it's very loose. It's what we call the foundation. And then just as you were saying, if there's whales, if there's reports that come through from other ships, from our ships, of where certain types of penguins might be or other activity, they pivot quickly and get you to wherever is the best experience for that day. And it's also too, the captains are very much involved because we have such experienced captains in the ice. And so when weather becomes an issue, as it can be, they know other places to go where they can tuck in and get you out of the weather and get you on land. So it's just this level of experience that we have that enables us to pivot on the spot and
Right.
continue to offer the best program possible. So, do you want me to keep going on what to expect? Or you?
Yeah. Sure. And just so that you know, our dates are February 6th to the 14th.
Yes.
And
yes.
as the video showed, you'll have some of the penguins will be actually fledging and on their own. And then too, that is when the whale sightings really ratchet up. So it offers a full view of also too, like the seals and sea lions, the babies are moving. So it's a very active time.
Nice.
And Brent, I don't want to cut you off. So if you had
Oh, no,
more,
no, no, no. You're the star of the show. I just wanted to share too. I think it's important, when I've talked to so many consumers, so many people like Dave, that what I think is really impressive is we're the ones who took guests, the tourists, for the first time in the history of the world to Antarctica. So this
Wow.
is not something that McKinsey Consulting came to us saying, you should go there. That's a strategic destination. This is the fabric and the soul of what Lindblad does. And I think that's what's really powerful, that we get the best in the world to be able to be with us because they want to share their passion about the places where we go, especially something as incredible as Antarctica. And one of the things I thought was really interesting too is we do have now 23 ships where we explore all over the world. And I just mentioned that because when I joined Lindblad, I didn't realize that we were going all over the place, going to, from everywhere from Alaska to Antarctica, Egypt, all over. So that's something that's really special. And what I've appreciated about what we do is really this bullet of we're here for small ships, big adventures in remote destinations. Some of you may have friends that have gone to Antarctica, but they went on larger ships that, you don't have the same sort of intimacy that you get when you're on a ship like the Orion that has a maximum of 102 guests. So you're able to do things. You're able to see, the wildlife of Antarctica and anywhere in the world where we go, in a much more, up close, intimate way than you can if you're on a giant ship. And that's something that is really a big part of what we do.
and just as an asterisk to that too, I spoke briefly about IATO and there's regulations, and with the size of the vessel, they regulate where you can stop and how long you can be there. And the bigger ships are not allowed to stop. They are just cruise only. And with our level and with the Orion in particular, you're not going to have to wait while half the other of the ship goes somewhere and you're not on that landing. So we're able to accommodate everybody and we're able to have a much broader array of choices on where we can go. So the size really is an impact down in Antarctica.
What's a typical day like, Susan, when we're on this trip? What's this going to be like for us?
Well, a typical day is you probably will in some ways need a vacation after your vacation, because we do keep you, like you're saying, you're complaining about soreness. You're going to be up at different hours because you always have the choice of whether you want to get up. But when we come across something that's spectacular, the expedition team is going to let you know. And somebody's on watch 24 hours a day, for these types of different events too. So early morning, the landings can start as early as like 6 a.m. They can start before that, but we schedule morning landings and then come back for lunch and a rest or possibly a presentation, and then an afternoon landing. And depending on where we're at in the conditions, oftentimes if it's just a zodiac cruise, I say just, if it's a zodiac cruise or whatever, there are opportunities to do things after dinner as well. So we try, especially on these trips that, you want to pack in as much as you can while you're there. And so that's what we try to do, is make sure that we're checking every box and getting you out as much as possible.
And I'm curious too, Dave, is anybody planning to bring children on board?
So far as I know, no.
Okay. Well, the good news is
I don't do well with children.
Well, if people are like, I need to bring my grandkids or I need to bring my children, this is a really neat opportunity. I mean, I think what I've seen a lot of unlock for many parents and grandparents is the opportunity that their kids can learn from National Geographic. They're not taking a Disney cruise where they are going to be with the princesses and dressing up. They're learning from scientists.
They're learning. I do like the Baraculics.
Dave, I've got to say you did fine with our grandkids.
I put your grandkids in front of a RuPaul's Drag Race drag queen. I mean, that tells you about my parenting.
We had a ball. Oh my gosh, it was so much fun. You did great.
I did want to just share that we do have this Explorers in Training program. So if anybody does want to bring grandkids, kids, I mean, it's really cool to be able to have them do, science experiments on board, collect plankton, see that underneath a microscope. I mean, you can talk about penguins in class if you're in the middle of Kansas. It's way different than when you're actually looking at penguins. You're being able to study the waters. It's really incredible. So I think that's something that I would imagine many of you are drawn towards, is having National Geographic. We all grew up with the magazines, seeing that. To me, that's Google before Google. We flip through those pages and it would take us to Egypt or Africa or anywhere, and it would transport us to different worlds. Now for us to have people like Susan, have our naturalists on board that are certified by National Geographic, that's really special for us.
This will be my first National Geographic trip, and I'm super excited about it. So, and I think also if you guys could explain what makes expedition cruising a bit different than normal cruising, and follow up with, do I get a cute outfit?
Well, I'll answer the first part to tag on what Susan shared. I did my first expedition last month with my wife, and we both felt like it was adult summer camp. This is not a cruise. I mean, this is, we're going to do the belly flop contest and then we're going to lay out by the pool. That's not what you're doing here. I mean, it is, as Susan mentioned, you are up early in the morning. You have got different activities throughout the day for varying ability levels. And that's something that's really special. There could be a seminar on board. When I was on the Galapagos, they debuted a documentary on penguins. And I'm watching this penguin debut, and then I'm getting text messages from my friends who are like, are you watching the University of Florida basketball game? No, I'm watching a penguin documentary. So there's something going on throughout the day. So I like it because it does keep you very busy, active, and engaged. So I think that's something that's very, very different than being on a cruise. The other thing I would say is, oftentimes, and I come from big cruise, I worked at Disney Cruise Line as an example, and a lot of that is the focus on the ship, the roller coaster, the fine dining restaurants, all the different things about the ship, which are all great. With Lindblad, it's all about, our guests are about, I want to go to Antarctica. I want to see the animals. I want to be immersed in the places where we go. And I think that's a big shift compared to, doing a typical ocean liner, which is
Right.
something I love myself.
Right. And all the tours are part of the package. So it's not like people have to go and choose extra thing. It's all included. It's all organized. It's all
Yes.
Yeah, it's a really good point. Yeah. The great thing is all of your excursions are included. There's nothing where it's like, oh, you can pay a little bit extra. No, because and for those of us that have cruised before, there's that anxiety of, oh, do I really have to spend another $2,000 to get
right.
my family and I off the ship?
Right.
Everything that we do is included. Susan, I'm sorry, I interrupted.
No, that's okay. No, I was just one of the things that I think too that's really important with this trip that you are all going to hopefully be on is that I mentioned before, it's true expedition. And what that means too is like oftentimes on like river cruising or the big ships, at 11:15 a.m. you're going to do this. That's not the way we have a goal that maybe at 11:15 we'll do this, but it doesn't work out that way. So flexibility and just you could have been scheduled to see one thing and something totally amazing showed up at 11:10. So it's just being more open to how nature flows. And it's very much like nature to be in an expedition. And that's kind of a segue into this one as far as the flying part of it goes too. Um, if it's okay, I'd like to kind of do a little bit of a run through on how the trip goes, so
Would
you
love
kind
it.
of have an idea on that. You make your way to Puerto Natales in Chile, and Puerto Natales is a beautiful place to have our base operations for these programs. It's at the base of the mountains for Torres del Paine. It's on the sea. It's just a very, very picturesque, small, used to be fishing village, and it turned out to be a very good place also for the operational side of these programs. So you come in, you check into the hotel, and you have things that you need to do as far as watch a video for the briefing for biosecurity and for how you need to handle yourself when you're down in Antarctica, what to expect, and get your parka, your cute outfit. So you will have an orange parka that will be waiting for you. And once you're signed up and have the guest portal option, you will go in and make your size orders for your orange parka so we can find you in the ice. And also, too, we need you to have boots. So there's Ship to Shore is our partner in all of the gear, and there's rentals and purchasing available too. So all of that will be waiting for you in Puerto Natales. You have a chance to meet your fellow travelers at a welcome dinner and an additional briefing because the way it works, we have two jets, BAE 146s. DAP is the name of the airline. And we have chartered two for each of the programs. So what happens is I'd say probably 24 hours before you even get there, we start getting weather reports so we know what it's going to be. And the goal is that you have your nice welcome dinner, and the next morning, our scheduled time to fly is at 9 a.m. from the Puerto Natales airport. That can change. So that's where your first part of expeditionary, flexible, go with the flow attitude needs to kick in. We keep you as informed when you know what we know, but none of us are in control of the weather. And at this point, it's completely in the hands of the airline because it has to be safe, both for taking off in Puerto Natales to make sure what the winds are, because in this region, winds are a big part of the equation, and getting down to King George Island. That is a 2 hour and 15-minute flight. So you get down to King George Island, and that's where there's numerous stations, research stations that are down there, and one of the few airstrips. It is a gravel runway, so it is you are in expedition land. You are down there. There's a Chilean research center. There's a Russian one. There's about 5 of them, and right now three of them are just not coming to my brain. So you get off the jets and you make your way to we have, or DAP has buses that are available. And you board the bus, and it will take you about a mile down to the beach. And that's where our staff and our zodiacs will be waiting for you. And so that's also why, too, you need to have, you will be flying in the cabin with your parka and your waterproof boots. So you make your way to the zodiacs and you zodiac to the ship. And that's when you get on board the Explorer, or excuse me, I'm sorry, distraction. My dog is having a dream and wagging his tail. I didn't know what he was up to. So that's when you start your expedition, and the luggage comes over after you. And the people, I have to say, the ground team for DAP is amazing. They turn two jets around because the folks that were on the ship before you disembark, you embark, and they do this whole process within an hour.
Wow.
So then they fly back to Puerto Natales with the disembarking guest, which will be you at the end of your program. So that's kind of what to expect when you first arrive and how you get to the ship. All hopes are clear skies, no wind, and everything runs on time. But I would be lying if I didn't say there is a chance for that to be changed, usually only by, a couple of hours. And again, you're informed as we know. So we have a whole process when you're at the hotel to keep you updated on what the latest flight schedule is.
Okay. Sounds
So
good.
any questions on that part of it?
Yes, packing, clothes, and limitations.
That is limitations. We have to be very strict on luggage weights. All of that will be in your expedition guide, which will be on the portal. We have a very extensive packing list. And like I said, too, there is the link to Ship to Shore, and they have gear packages for Antarctica too. So you can opt for single items, or you could get a package that had waterproof pants, boot rental, all of it. So it is all in the expedition guide, and you will have very clear instructions on what to pack.
Perfect.
And also there is laundry on board. So, I mean, you have that option too, because like I said, weight is definitely
For
a
sure.
restriction. Let's see. What else can I tell you?
I love those orange parkas.
And they're a badge of honor too. You get to wear it later and let everybody know that you went to Antarctica.
Yeah.
So it's pretty darn cool. But I can say too, once you get on board, you go through your safety briefings and some other general knowledge as a group, and then you're off. You're off and running. And usually that you would be on board probably later afternoon to early evening. It's oftentimes, well, I say this, you never know. If something comes up and they want to do a landing that evening, that is a possibility too. But usually it's ship cruising, and that is a beautiful experience. And you're going to be awestruck from the landing, I'm sure, all the way through. So
I'm excited. Do we get to do the polar plunge?
yeah, you do.
There it is.
Yes, you do.
Yes, you do. Provided conditions are good, we'll
Oh,
toss you in the water. Yes,
oh
most
my-
definitely. And one of the things, we talk about sitting by the pool with cocktails. Well, you can have a polar plunge and have the group meet you with a hot chocolate with maybe a little extra in it. So make sure that you're nice and warm.
We have to do it.
Yes. Another badge of honor. There's plenty of badges of honor on this one. So photography too is another topic that's of great interest too. We have not only a National Geographic photo expert on board, but also a certified photo instructor from the Lindblad side of things too. In February, you're going to start to have some changes in light. So your light and ice pictures, I mean, light is one of the best things down in Antarctica too. It's artwork in itself, even beyond the wildlife. but you'll be instructed on the challenges and some of the ways to handle taking pictures of a lot of white, because there is a talent to that as well. So our experts help you to navigate your scenery, also to navigate moving targets of penguins and seals and sea lions. And I don't know if any of you have had the opportunity to be on a ship with when there's whale watching going on, but getting a proper picture of a whale is you get them, you look at them and you're like, what part of a whale was that? And it's just a fluke or a bump or whatever. So definitely have the instruction while you're on board. And also, too, time permitting, they will give lectures on that as well.
Hey, Dave, can
Yes.
I can I interject? Hey,
Yes.
aloha.
Yes. Yes.
This is Marty. This would be our third Lindblad / National Geographic trip.
Thank you.
And and the Galapagos, the photographers did a fabulous job. They had little classes on board and gave you those pointers, and then you got to go out and practice them in the wild. And then also there were contests, did you follow through with the three
Oh,
items
fun.
you were supposed to have in the same frame? But it was really fun and educational at the same time. And the other thing I'd add, Dave, is on the Galapagos trip, they did a great job with the kids. They had a whole little I think there's probably a dozen of them on the zodiacs and having contests themselves, and they kind of had their own little camp going on, so they could join the adults if they wanted, and if not, so it actually melded very well. I mean, I thought it might be an issue, but it wasn't. It was
Don't,
seamless. So,
don't you use them
so
as
just so you
like
know.
whale bait or something?
Or something.
So Dave, this is Jocelyn. I had a couple of questions. Can you guys talk about kind of the equipment on the ship? So I know we have zodiacs. Are there kayaks? In your introductory video, you talked about underwater. I didn't realize this, but is there actually opportunity for diving if you're certified, those kinds of things?
We do have kayaks. And there's the undersea is by our undersea specialists, so it's not a guest option to go diving. There's so much additional certification and requirements to do it in this type of waters that it's not at this stage for us, not an option. But we have the ROV, we have the divers, so there is definitely a very strong program to give you that window undersea, but not exactly give you access to get in the water itself.
Got it. Got it.
Are there other questions? I wanted to be sensitive to Susan's time. I know that she's got a busy day today.
Yeah, I have a question. We just got back from the Lindblad Snake River and Columbia River cruise, and that boat is really tiny. And I love the excursions. I love the lectures. But I didn't really like the ship. The cabins were very uncomfortable. There wasn't enough hot water. And one of the things I didn't like was like breakfast was always at the same time and there was no other option. So you really didn't have an option of skipping the morning. You had to get up to get the breakfast or there was going to be no food. So that kind of turned me off a little bit to Lindblad because I loved all the expeditions, but I didn't really like the ship.
So is there a question?
Which ship was that, David? And
Seabird or Sea Lion would be my guess.
Yeah, it was a Seabird.
Yeah.
And that's an older ship. I mean, that was, one that I think was in the 80s that, first debuted. With the Orion, this is, David, a newer ship. I did pull up some bigger ships.
Yeah, this looks great. We had the big stateroom and it was small and had two single beds that were like this, and my feet were on Wendy's bed, and you could hardly, the shower was like only this big, like you couldn't even. So
we're not using that ship.
Good. So this is a big upgrade from that kind of ship. This looks great.
Yeah. Here's your bathroom.
Yeah, and I mean for us, I mean we, the Sea Lion and Seabird, the sister ships, certainly are our legacy ships. But we know that guests now certainly have higher expectations for kind of a premium experience. I mean, they want to be able to go out, enjoy all the great places we do, have the great programming and the expeditions that you enjoyed. but they want to come back to something a little bit larger and more relaxing. And so
Okay,
that's what we've
that's
done on our
great.
newer
That's
ships.
great.
Yes.
And,
Yes.
And
and
the
is
Excellent
there some
question.
flexibility about getting food outside of meal times if we want to, skip a meal and sleep in?
There is some, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, good. And one thing I really liked about that ship that I want to ask about is they had a speaker in every stateroom. So if there was a lecture in the evening and you didn't want to stay up till 10 for the lecture because you can get up at 6 the next morning, you could listen to the lecture from the
In your
stateroom.
cabin. Yes.
We
That's
can
still
do
true?
that. Yeah.
That's available.
Excellent.
Yes.
Perfect.
Okay, that's all my questions.
And
Thank you.
Dave, if necessary, I'll make you some scrambled eggs.
Thank you. Oh yeah, this
Actually,
is this
let me
is
let me
this is
rephrase
great.
that. I'll rephrase that. I'll have Terry make you some scrambled.
Yeah, this is nothing like the seabird. Thank you.
No,
Yes.
Okay.
no,
Yes.
the
Very different.
seabird and sea lion, they will always be close to personally to my heart. But it's a certain type of experience where it's just a completely different, and this is more of a, it sounds kind of silly, but it's more of a ship. It has
Yeah,
to
no,
be
that
too.
that makes sense. I mean, they warned us ahead of time that it was going to be tight and rough, so I wasn't like disappointed by not having my expectations set. And like I say, the photographer and the lecturers were amazing, and all of the off-ship activities were really amazing too. We really enjoyed it.
Good.
Excellent.
Okay, thank you.
There's
So
just a couple. Look at this woman just being very pensive, here on the Orion, looking outside. Yeah, I mean, that's been a big focus of ours, is making sure that we're providing these, ships that feel a little bit more to me like a yacht, larger yacht, and bigger experiences for our guests. I showed you the lounge. Two things I want to highlight here. It's two things. One of the things I thought is a really special tradition that we do, and maybe others do it, is every evening we bring in the entire ship to be able to bring everybody together as a community. This is an opportunity to kind of debrief the day, what we went through. Maybe it is showing some of those underwater videos that people took, that our naturalists took underwater. We talk about what we did. What I really appreciated too was when I was in the Galapagos, they shared what we're going to do the next day. Walk through, hey, here's what we're doing. Here's the different activities. So no one's surprised. And I thought that was very cool. Obviously, there might be things that do change, but I think that's something that's special, that really does bring everybody together as a community.
my impression is that with the size of the ship and the fact that there's only 102 passengers, this will feel more like a river cruise in the terms of the onboard experience, socializing, dining, etc. Can you talk a little bit about the dining on board, what to expect? And
Yeah, Susan, I'll let you answer that.
Well, we do have, it's only one seating, but it's open seating, so there's no assigned tables. And multiple choices for each meal. Always have the vegetarian as well, too. And we try very hard to accommodate anybody's special requests. So filling out your paperwork prior to the program is extremely important so we can have what you need. Some flexibility, like there's tea times. I want to say that I might be lying exactly what is available throughout the day, but there is options to have
Yeah.
food throughout the day too. And also special requests can be made. Can't say guarantee that all can be met, but
Right.
it's we do our best to accommodate everybody, but it's a very relaxed feel. There's no need for formal dressing. It's just a time to rehash the day and meet your fellow travelers and spend some time with the staff too. They oftentimes join for meals, so you can have those moments where you can ask even more in-depth questions of them too. And share your travel stories, because it sounds like you guys have some wonderful ones. So
Yeah.
that's always fun too.
Yes. So, and then as far as, well, real quick, as far as like outs beverages and things, it's non-alcoholic beverages are included.
And
Alcoholic
alcohol.
beverages are
Alcohol is, yeah.
Except
Alcohol
for
is.
top shelf. Top shelf now.
Oh,
Yeah, if you want Johnny Walker Blue, Dave, you're gonna have to pay a little bit extra for that.
well, I
But
don't mind. No,
after you're
I'll
done
trade.
kayaking, if you want a little glass of Kim Crawford, that's free. We'll give
Okay.
that to you for free. So that's something nice.
I'm not fussy.
Wi-Fi is also included. And so those are two nice things, and the shore excursions, the alcohol. So that's something nice being able to have that as part of the package price. Again, reducing kind of that anxiety of, oh my gosh, what more do I have to pay for?
And
The
on this
only real-
ship, well, I was gonna say on this ship, gratuities are also included.
Mhm.
As well. Yeah.
Hey,
So-
Dave, this is Barbara.
Hi, Barbara.
Hi. Hey, so I just had a comment and then a question. So I did the National Geographic to Galapagos on, I think it was the Explorer.
Mm.
And this ship looked so much nicer. That ship was really basic. And one of the reasons we're doing this trip, a particular one, is because we wanted to go on this ship, and some of the crew had told us they had been on it, and it really does look nice. I love the pictures. Thank you. The other question I had was, how difficult is it how do you fly to Port Natales? Like, I looked at it a little bit, and it seemed like it was kind of a challenge to get there. I live in California.
In California, you would fly to Santiago, Chile. That's where all of the flights, and there's quite a few options to
Okay.
get into Chile. Latam is the national airline for Chile. And
Okay.
yeah, and Sky, I think, is the other one too that will fly from Santiago to Puerto Natales.
Okay.
Yeah, I know it's remote, but it's not going to involve 65 different connections. It's getting you to Santiago and then one flight to Puerto Natales.
And do you have suggestions for pre and post ideas?
I do.
Look at that little segue. Thanks, Bob.
That was a great one. I was like, I got to figure out how to get that in there. When I mentioned Puerto Natales, it is the gateway to Torres del Paine, which is an extremely beautiful national park for Chile. And we are now offering a extension there. It's a pre-extension. One of the things that we recommend highly, and that is you do not schedule anything for post trip because of any chances of flight delays and just not being able to hook up exactly on a time. It is much better to not do that. So we're offering it for a pre-extension. It is one night in Puerto Natales. And then you drive up, it's a transfer into the park to stay at Rio Serrano. And it is a lodge up in Torres del Paine. And there's a lot of included activities where you have a total array of things, different levels, the amenities of the lodge itself to experience. Dave, you can go on all kinds of hikes. You can hike up the towers.
Do your stretching.
The iconic towers, some incredible wildlife potential. That's where the pumas are, and the guanaco, and condors, and lots of other birds. It is an amazing place. And so after the 3 nights in the park itself, then we transfer you back down to Puerto Natales to join up with the group. So gets you in early too, so any travel woes can be taken care of, and you're ready to go then for when the flights take off.
Do I get a discount since my last name is Natale?
I'm sure.
That I can't.
It's clearly named after me, so I mean,
There you go.
my people should get a discount.
Is there a description anywhere on the website of that trip?
Yes.
I'll get one and I'll send it out to everybody.
Okay, thank you.
We had held back a little bit on pre and post until we got settled and had an idea of numbers and things, but now it's time to start thinking about it.
Okay.
All right.
Well, we're so delighted. Thank you, Dave, for inviting us. This is really cool to be able to. I mean, I took a bunch of notes from Susan. Thank you,
Yes,
for sharing this. And we would love to host you. And honestly, for someone that's new to Lindblad, it is so comforting to talk to many of you that are past guests. So thank you so very much for your trust in National Geographic Lindblad Expeditions. It means a lot to me personally, knowing that, hey, you've gone on other destinations with us, and you're coming to Antarctica with Dave. So thank you so very much.
Does anybody have any other questions? Of course, you can always, if something pops up, you can write them, and Brent is immediately available at all times. So get those answers. And but if anybody has any burning questions left, raise your hand.
I did have a quick question, Dave. It's Liz. Hi.
Hi, Liz.
About the excursions. So, on a normal river cruise, they're broken down into your ability. Is that the same way here? Or
Yes.
is it just a free for all and everybody goes out and does their thing?
No, we can't have a free for all, unfortunately, or fortunately. No, there's different levels. Usually, like when it comes to the hiking, there's distance levels, or if you would just rather have a stroll along the beach. So there's always options.
Okay. Yep. Thank you.
And we want everybody to feel included, because you've got different ability levels on board. You've got people that are 17 years old. They're going to do something different than someone that's 77. And that's something that I saw that was really nice, is that people will go out of their way to make sure people feel comfortable and really enjoy the excursions and the experiences that we're offering.
And also too, if you just have a morning where you'd rather stay on board and, be out on deck and just with your cup of coffee, that's fine too. So
yeah, you can watch me swim, Liz.
watch you plunge.
Dave, Liz committed that she was doing the polar swim. So.
We're doing it.
I'm doing it.
We're good. We have to talk Terry into it. He's not going
Yes, we gotta get Terry to do it.
Me and Terry will be up on the deck watching you guys jump in.
The two husbands.
Okay, we'll do the plunge as long as there's a defibrillator on board. How about that?
There is. But he said he would only do it if he could do it naked. And I'm like,
Oh boy.
I can't accommodate that. Sorry.
So, all right, guys. Well, now I did record this. I am going to make the recording. It takes usually about 2 hours before the recordings are ready to go. I will send this out to everyone, and I will have it posted for anyone who missed anything at the beginning. I know that of the guests that are here, many of you are already booked. Those that have not booked and are interested in booking, I will be available to get your cabin selection ready and get you set up, because as you can see, this is going to be a really fantastic, wonderful adventure. And we have to thank Marty and Barbara for this, because it was they were urging me to do it. And I said, well, I'll only do it if you do it. And they're like, all right, we'll do it. But we're as flyover, because Barb was like, I am not sailing the Drake.
Yes. No, not sailing. And also we picked this ship because it was the nicest one.
Yeah, exactly.
I already said that.
Yeah. So we're like, all right, I'm in. If all right, we're good. So, and we've got so far, let's see, where's my notes? We've got
It's a fun group. I got to figure out how I'm getting on, because
I was just going to say, Ben, you haven't been there yet.
No, I mean, you're going to take up you're going to be all the fun people. That's great. This will be a great experience.
We do our best. I explained before I let all of you into the room, I explained to Brett and Susan that I'm very lucky, because all of my clients, the common denominator is everybody's very nice. And they enjoy being with each other, and they kind of elevate the trips by just being nice and enjoy and making it a nice experience. So right now we're 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cabins are already booked. So, Debbie had asked, because, the ship has 102 people, will there be some dedicated DNA tours, group space for us? And of course, yes, we'll get together in the lounge together. We'll dine together as much as we want. As people are going into the groups to do their tours, ability wise, of course, we'll have the chance to be together. But with 100 people on board, that's going to be simple and easy. So,
And you might find too, it's great to be part of the group.
yeah, yeah. We always meet new people. We always, even though
we
we are
promote that
on
feeling.
board, we're quite open to folks that are not in our group, and they usually wind up joining us.
Following the fun crowd.
Yeah, they do. So, all right, everyone, we're going to wish you a wonderful evening. I am going to go and take some pain medication and go to bed, and follow up with everybody in the next day or so. And again, Susan, Brett, thank you so much for coming and for, informing us and sharing all this great information.
Wonderful.
Our
Well,
pleasure.
thank you, Dave. Thank you, everybody. Susan,
Thank
thank you so much for
you.
your time.
Bye.
Aloha.
Bye.
Bye,
Bye.
Dave.
Aloha.
Bye. Aloha.
Bye.